Hello, everybody. This is Jane Galli, and we are here at Commissioner's Corner, and we are talking with Sean Farhy this morning from our 7th Ward, and this is all things 7th Ward. Let's start with some topics that are active at the moment, which is a good segue into what I'm about to ask. Recently, over the Labor Day weekend, there was an active shooter at Villanova, or a scare of one. Could you just give us a little synopsis about what happened and what's going to happen?
Sure. So it was an active shooter. It was a scare. What happened was, I guess, a college student heard something, called it into 911. The Radnor police came, and when they came, Radnor police said there may be an active shooter. Villanova put out a text message saying that there could be an active shooter, and that's where a lot of this comes from. So, and I don't fault Villanova at all for being safe than sorry. My only concern, or rather the neighbors' concerns that they've addressed to me, not the students, is that they would like to get on the opt-in for the Villanova text. And Villanova told me right now the texts are for students, faculty, administration, not for residents. For me, I think if Villanova doesn't have the capacity they said they don't have the capacity to do so, nor do they said that it was beneficial for the residents in the sense of it is for, floods or power outages, et cetera. And that's something I get that the neighbors don't need to know about. But for life, major events that are life-threatening, such as an active shooter, a building collapse, a chemical spill, if there was a separate opt-in, this is what the neighbors told me, and I'm only relaying that. If there's a separate opt-in, that's something that they would want. And our residents are stakeholders to the university. They live around it. You see many of the residents use the fields, and for instance, my son in the summer swims at the Villanova swim camp. So I would like to know, God forbid, there was a situation like that. So the neighbors' concerns are basically they don't want selective information. It's if you had 7 people around the table and you told 3 people something and the other 4 people would be like, hey, what's going on? That's how misinformation gets spread. Also, if we got, God forbid, there's an event and you see something, you're driving and you see there's a text message of an alert, you're going to avoid that area and you're going to have law enforcement do its job better. But I don't fault Villanova for putting that out. Our Radnor police were there in 2 minutes. So in that regards, it was as good as could be. Obviously, we didn't have it, but I think that we should take some of these points and kind of learn from them. God forbid there is a situation. So let's try to learn from this. And as I know we've spoken, you said better communication is a key.
Absolutely. I agree with that wholeheartedly. The other thing that's new in our area is that Villanova has removed their old lights that have been up there for, 30 or 40 years and have replaced them with new, much more advanced lighting, which seems to help with the spillage into the neighborhood. Can you give us a little update on how that's going?
Sure. So we voted on, I think it was June, and Villanova has put new lights. They removed the heavy, inefficient, I don't know if they're halogen lights, and put the Musco lights, which are LEDs. They're much more efficient. I think there may still be some light spillage, and that's just something that I addressed to the township manager as well as members of Villanova, as well as our engineer. We're going to look to see if that's the case. And the reason why I want to address it is zero light spillage per the settlement is zero light spillage. I don't want this to drag on 3 years, 5 years where it's grandfathered in and then it's acceptable. The light spillage would probably happen more if it's cloudy or there's precipitation and the light will reflect off of the water particles in the air. But overall, it's much better. I did call one resident and I said, hey, are they better? And he said it's 95% better. And that's a win for the residents. And I think I know the residents are very happy with the new lights.
That's great. Yeah. Always good to make everyone happy. Try to make
Yes.
as many people happy as you can. We've also had an issue on Garrett Avenue. I know there's been a lot of conversation about the height of a brand new twin on that road. Can you let us know what's going on with that?
So this has been going on for almost a year, about 7 or 8 months. I've met with staff and the builder to try to iron some things out, and we weren't able to come to an agreement. Not me, I can't make any kind of settlement, but we're talking about it, and it wasn't going to happen. The community has met with him as well, and nothing can really come out with it. So this went to zoning, and zoning was a 4-hour meeting, and zoning was split 2-2, and they're going to probably decide come Monday on what happens. So the issue, or Thursday, which is tomorrow. So the issue is the house is about 6 feet too tall, which is a violation of the Garrett Hill overlay, which is a sub-zoning in Radnor Township. And the neighbors the builder is saying that he was unaware. The neighbors feel that regardless of whatever happened, and even though he received a permit, that they want the roof lowered or the dormers removed or some kind of remediation. We're not going to knock the house down. That's just not going to happen. It's already built. I don't think we're going to rip the roof off. So the question is what the zoning board decides, and then what happens after that. Does this get appealed to media, and do we defend that? So as a commissioner, I can talk to, as I said, I've spoken to the developer a little bit several months ago. I haven't had any communication since then. At a community meeting, at the Bryn Rose meeting, as well as I met with him, our solicitor, the manager, and then other building engineers. So what happens? I don't know. It'll be interesting to see what happens and where we go. But we're airing today, so I don't know if this is going to be. This won't be out till tomorrow, but we're going to have a lot of information come tomorrow night.
Great. All right, and one sad note,
Sure.
Sad note for the 7th Ward is our ex-commissioner was in court yesterday. And I just think that we should let people know what occurred.
Sure. So the gentleman gentleman is a very...
It's okay.
The person I replaced...
Right.
Was indicted, or he's been indicted. I guess they gave him sentenced for his child pornography, and the sentencing was 151 months, with some time served. I personally believe, with everything that he said, and this was pretty egregious, that it should have been 151 years, and I did put that up publicly.
Right.
And there's really nothing else to say other than that. I hope that he never walks the streets of Garrett Hill or any neighborhood, for that matter, because it's about as bad as it gets.
Yeah, we can hope that he finds some redemption somewhere, not with us. Let's on to more fun things.
Awesome.
Yes, there was a bond offering.
Yes.
And we're going to get some good stuff out of it.
We are.
And so, what is coming to the 7th Ward from this wonderful bond issue?
So we're looking at hopefully getting two things. First is we have that, we'll say, I'll use your term, a yucky rock pile. You know the yucky rock pile? Yes. That's pretty
technical.
Yeah,
Very technical.
It is pretty unsightly.
Yeah.
And part of that bond offering would be to clean that gateway up, make it nice, make it look a little bit better.
And where's the gateway, just to let everyone know?
So it is Conestoga Road from the business park to that underpass. So there's, if you're driving up going west and you look on your right, you'll see a rock pile that is who knows who owns it? Maybe SEPTA owns some of it, PECO, their power lines, and Amtrak, and a trolley line, and it's just a big pile of rocks, a hill of rocks and weeds. So to clean that up would A, make it look nicer, which is important, taking pride in the 7th Ward, as I know you care about, but also it could be definitely better to the residents as a health and safety issue, because we do get flooding there, especially under the underpass. We had that earlier this summer, where it was it's a pretty big puddle, and that is a blind, when you turn, that is a blind, how do you say, it's pretty much a blind turn sometimes when you get in there.
Yep.
So people speed through it. It's extremely narrow. It's, even if you walk by, it's so narrow that you can't even put a stroller through it. So cleaning that up would be great for those two purposes. The other safety issue is the sidewalk from Barleycone to, headed east all the way toward county line. Parts of it are just deteriorating. The grading is pretty much the same level of the road. So, and those Lancaster Avenue is not made for our big tractor trailers and SUVs. It was originally a horse and buggy road. So when you have a car that's in two narrow lanes, they sideswipe. There's no. You don't skim the curb with your tire. You go on the sidewalk, and that is definitely an issue of safety for all the people that use that. And there are a lot of residents as well as students that use that when they walk back and forth to Bryn Mawr. So that is definitely a great safety issue. I think it's going to make it look better. We also have safety issues on the other side of county line, from I guess where that A+ is, going all the way to Yangming. If you look at the south side, that actually technically is a township, really a county line. So cleaning that up as well is important. We do have the county line road corridor, so hopefully we can get to that next. That's going to be a multi-year project. It's something that we'd have to work with Lower Merion with as well. But let's start cleaning up the sidewalks and make Bryn Mawr and where we are more walkable, accessible, and I think that would be that'd be great.
That would be terrific. Yeah, and the bond has already been issued.
I believe that we did issue the bond. We did vote on the bond, so that is done. So these are in the bond right now. And we have budgeted what we assume or what we estimate it would cost. Sometimes these things are more. Sometimes these things are less. Sometimes these things may get taken out of for one reason or another. As of now, they're in the bond, but we need to engineer and get all the good stuff. In principle, we have it done, and we're going to take the money out for it. Now we have to, make sure that it gets done.
Perfect, perfect. And another very exciting thing is the Emlyn Tunnel field. I know that we've come to an agreement on what the comfort station should look like. Would you like to give us the lowdown on when it's going to be there, who's doing it, et cetera, et cetera?
So I sent Tammy Cohen, who's the head of our community development, just kind of want to get an update on it. She says that they're working with Gannett Fleming. We're working with Ronco, I think it's called Ronco, and we're finalizing the building design, the placement, getting some engineering stuff done as well, and then so hopefully we have it done by opening day next year of spring. If it doesn't get done now, the season's over, but hopefully we have a good winter that's favorable for building, and we can get that done, get the engineering done. But it's about time that the girls have a bathroom, because it's definitely not
overdue.
It's overdue. If you look at Enki A and Enki B, the fields there, they're in great shape. I think that the girls need the same amenities as the boys. There's no
right.
And
the size and the scale and what's in there has been agreed to with the neighbors, et cetera.
Yes. So
we're all good with that.
And that's, to bring that up again, the neighbors weren't happy with the placement. They weren't happy with the size. So I called a meeting. I think you were there, and the township manager, and Tammy, and our engineer, Steve Norsini, our manager, Bob Zinkowski, was there. A bunch of neighbors were there. Little League was there. We had every single stakeholder, about 40 people there, and we figured it out. And that's what community does. We figured it out. We don't want to put anything that's, unsightly. We want to kind of hide it. And we have to work around certain issues of how we're going to lay pipes or how we're going to lay electrical wires. And we were able to get it done. And I can't wait till it gets done. It's really, really a win-win for the people that are going to use the Little League as well as the neighbors and people that just want to take a nice walk in a park. And if we look at who Emlyn Tennell is, I mean, let's honor him. The guy was an athlete. The guy was a trailblazer. It's the first African-American to make the NFL Football Hall of Fame, but even more importantly, he was a war hero. Let's honor him by at least making that park come up to date. There are also a lot of other improvements that I'd like to see sooner or later done with that park. So the dugouts need to get cleaned up. There's the foul pole should be repainted. There were some issues with fencing. I don't know if they're fixed, but he is. He's Ward 7, Garrett Hill's, favorite son.
Right.
I think he's
Absolutely.
a township his favorite son.
Yep.
And let's just honor him by making that park as great as he was as a person.
I couldn't agree with you more. That's absolutely true. On to last weekend, which was very fun, right in Wayne. We had the Wayne Fall Festival. Would you like to comment on it? I had a really good time, but
okay. Well, yeah, I did see you. It's a wonderful event. It brings out a lot of community. There's everybody there. Different restaurants get to showcase. Businesses get to showcase. Organizations, nonprofits. So I know the Radnor Historical Society was there. I know the Willows Park Preserve was there.
We were.
I stopped by.
Yep.
And it's
Ready for 100 was there.
Okay, Ready for 100 was there as well.
Yep.
So it's a wonderful event. It showcases Wayne, which is where the studio is too, and it's great. It's just a lot of community coming together. You see friends, you see neighbors, have a bite to eat. There was a huge. I said huge and little, but. There's a huge rock climbing thing, and there are also little games for 4-year-olds as well.
It was great event.
And it was just such a beautiful day too. You couldn't beat it. And the Eagles game was on late.
There you go.
So you had no excuse not to go.
Yeah, and we have to thank the Wayne Business Association.
Chris Todd did a great job.
He did an amazing job. And our guys from Radnor Township, they were terrific too. The guys that helped clean up, and they're
You never know what happens. Yeah, that's
oh my goodness.
Thank you for shouting.
Yeah,
our public
wonderful.
works and police are wonderful.
Absolutely. Now we have one coming up, which will be the fall harvest and pumpkin patch, which is every year at the Willows. Speaking of Willows, and when will that be? And what?
So that is October. That is October 6th, and this is another wonderful festival. We have like 2 festivals, bang bang, and this is something that actually you're going to have to pre-register for. So if you're a Radnor resident and you want one of those big pumpkins, you need to go online and register so you can get one of those big pumpkins. And I think they're, like I said, they're Radnor. I think it's Radnor residents only because there were one limit. And then I remember I watched people with like wagons taking like 6 pumpkins. And I'm like, really? Like these are for the kids.
It's
not,
for the children.
Yeah,
and
I think it was for the grown-ups.
Yeah,
some of it.
Well, it is fun because it's fun. It's
but
good.
But it's a wonderful event. There's a lot of vendors. I think there's that little band, the place where they have kids music.
Yeah, Bach to Rock usually shows up.
Yeah, Bach to Rock is there, and you can walk around the Willows, and you can take a tour of the mansion, and it is it's another wonderful event. Hopefully, we have a great day. The kids love it. They get to pick out pumpkins. Just one.
Just one.
Yeah, and it gets to showcase the Willows, and that is a wonderful thing. It's a beautiful piece of open space that we need to preserve, and a lot of Ward 7 residents. So while it's not in the ward, it's probably one of the largest open spaces in I would think it's the largest in all of Radnor.
Probably.
So let's
47 acres.
Is
So
it 40? So let's preserve it. Let's plant some trees. Make sure it's nice. I think there's an issue with the pond. So let's try to.
Oh yes, that is evidently the.
Is it fixed?
No.
Okay.
The water, the thing that keeps the mosquitoes down, they're not working right now.
well.
And I know they're working on it to get them back up and running again.
Let's get that. Hopefully that'll get up and running by October 6th. And I know that you are on the Willows. You're on the board of the Willows Park Preserve.
I am.
So
indeed.
as I said, there are a lot of wonderful things wonderful events and things that it does, and I'll let you kind of take it away from here, and you can talk about how. Yes.
Anyway, the Willows Park Preserve is a group of volunteers that are going to renovate and rejuvenate the Willows to a community hub, and our intention is to bring the building back to its mostly historical beginnings in 1910, and we are, as I said, we're all volunteer. We love this project, and we are very excited. In fact, next weekend, we will be having our very first fundraiser, which I'm a little plug.
Well, we have John Fisher, who is a former Ward 7 commissioner. He's going to be providing. Sorry to interrupt.
That's all right.
I'm going to be interviewing you for the last.
There you go.
But he's having his band.
He is supplying the music.
Pardon me. Yep.
All free of charge.
Okay.
Everything that we raise is going toward the house. We have tried to get everything given to us, and we've begged, borrowed, and stealed. No, we didn't steal, but anyway, to have a wonderful event. You can go on our website, which is willowsparkpreserve.org. Any donations or any coming to the event is all tax deductible because we are 501(c)(3).
You are.
So hopefully, I know that a lot of people have fond memories at the Willows. They've had proms there. They've had parties there from school. Teachers had their teachers' meetings. There's weddings, etc. And we're really trying to bring this back so that we will have programming, we'll have art shows, we will have weddings or large gatherings, but the main focus is back to nature, community, making it a place where people can feel they can go.
I know that the Cub Scouts
do
sleepovers there, so it's going to be used for camping, to weddings, and everywhere in between.
Everywhere in between. And, we've already even had one of the yoga teachers that was actually at the Fall Festival sat there and said, maybe I'm going to run a few classes there. Great. And our intention is that they will not cost residents a dime. That, God willing, that we get enough funding for it. That's what our intent is. It's to be given back to the people of Radnor, to be used by the people of Radnor. So that's where we're going.
Cool. But, and just one more quick plug. There is an election in November, and I always ask people to bring coats to 7-2, which is coats and canned goods to drop off. And I had one more thing that I wanted to ask you about, and I can't.
Go on. Senior moment.
It's okay.
It's okay.
That's what happens. That's what happens when you have a whole list of.
That's true.
Things, so.
Anyway, is there anything else that we can think of that's going on in the 7th Ward that we haven't covered yet?
The only thing, real quick, is regarding the where 7-2 is that church, and that is something that we need to look at. I know that they are having some issues when it comes to membership, and granted, it's more of a community thing because we use that as a community center. We vote there. AA uses it. I know that we had the Garrett Hill, the meeting there, and that's just something that is near and dear to my heart that we need to preserve as a Ward 7 community.
Oh, I agree. Yeah.
So that's just something that, looking forward, that we need to do, and I don't know how we do it, but it's just something that's going to have to be on the front burner, not the back burner, going forward.
So let's forward. I know, I love it.
And that, I mean, that's
we've covered our safety issues.
Yes.
I think, and our bond issues. I think we've covered pretty much everything.
Well, yeah. The other thing that I was going to say is, that this is, for the people that watch this is a nonpartisan thing.
Yeah.
You're a Republican.
Yep.
I'm a Democrat.
Yep.
And this is all about community.
It is all about community.
And thank you so much for doing this. It's always an honor, and I always appreciate you sharing your time and having a candid conversation about this, because this is really what Ward 7, Garrett Hill, Conestoga Village, and Old Oaks is all about.
It is exactly that.
So thank you, Jane.
You're welcome.
Appreciate it
very much. Right. Thank you, everybody, and hopefully we'll do this a little bit more often. And we'll see you on our next program. Thank you.
Thanks.